It's been 2 months since your hometown, Eidos, was ripped from its own reality and placed in a new world. The Eidosians are calling it Horizon. Untamed and uncharted, it presents both risk and opportunity for all. Rangers, mages, and warriors all eagerly answer the call. Not all who have gone in search of fame and fortune have returned. There are many dangers lurking in the dark. Horrors from other dimensions summoned to Horizon as you were. Still, there is hope. There are friendly faces in Eidos, always willing to aid you in your journeys. And in the back of your mind burns the unanswerable question: who brought Eidos to this strange place called Horizon, and why?
Introducing Dragon's Crossing, an addictive Web3 game modeled after Dungeons & Dragons. With just 15 moves a day, you must find the right balance to navigate each zone and climb the leaderboard. In the meantime, you can also find NFTs that will bolster your chance to win or can be traded to other players.
Lots to do. You understand.
Season 1 gave out a whopping $13,000 in prizes, and we only expect it to grow from here. Make sure you're ready for Season 2 by picking up an NFT hero through our limited time mint or via the secondary market on OpenSea. Will you be our Season 2 champion? Check out our website, dragonscrossing.com, for more information. Let's go!
What is up? I was just playing along with Doug there. Super awesome guitar work, Doug. Welcome to the Dragons Crossing Town Hall. I'm Bloater Punch, and we've had quite a couple months here. So let me just pull up my list of to-dos here, and I will walk you through what's going on. Okay, so first off, keep in mind, remember to join the socials, Twitter, check out our website, obviously, and join the Discord. Awesome Season 1. We had, I think it's over almost 900 players register for Season 1. That was not paid. So then we opened up paid Season 2, and we're already at I think 700 something registered players, which is super encouraging because I anticipated some drop off because of the paid side of it. And I thought we'd have to build from a smaller base. But people are excited, and I think people saw some really cool stuff in Season 1. And so because of that, we saw pretty high adoption for Season 2, which is really exciting. So go Dragons Crossing, and thank you, community. So tonight, here's how it's going to play out. So I've already tested Genesis summoning Rift heroes. I've tested Rift Shard summoning, and it works. Not on the main site, but on the test site, it works. And so what's going to happen is we will burn the heroes tonight at around 11 p.m. MST. Once they're burned, we will initiate summoning. So if you wanted to, you could start summoning tonight. When I say tonight, I mean Mountain Time tonight. If you're on Pacific, you'll probably definitely be able to do it. If not, you'll probably do it when you wake up. And from there, no more Genesis heroes will be minted. And from there, you can summon with summoning shards. So again, I tested it. I didn't really have any hiccups. I tested summoning from the main screen without being logged in. And I tested from summoning in the game from the Adventuring Guild. And both worked well. I summoned a bunch of commons, I think, and then one mythic. So that was cool. As a reminder, we did make a decision to, before we do the burn, we're going to summon 100 heroes, or we'll mint 100 heroes. I apologize. We'll mint 100 Genesis heroes and hold those in reserve for the project in case that becomes some kind of resource in the future. But outside of that, we're going to do the burn. And then from now on, it will be really just Genesis heroes entering the ecosystem. Now, as a reminder, the biggest difference between Genesis and Rift heroes is, outside of the artwork, Rift heroes cannot find summoning shards. So only Genesis heroes control that ongoing supply. So it's on the project, it's on me and the team to find ways to bring additional users into the ecosystem, which then it will allow, I think, healthy demand for summoning shards. And we're going to try and create incentives to the community, to people outside the project, to come in and buy a summoning shard and play the game. So, excuse me. So that's the plan of record right now. We're super excited about it. So yeah, that'll be happening tonight. So big things on the horizon here. You could still mint if you wanted to today, Ellie. Yes. You have about 8 hours to mint, and then there will be no more mints. So exciting stuff. Okay. So again, just to be clear, once summoning starts tonight, Rift Heroes can register for the season. Doug had asked me, which I think is a good point, to extend the season registration time so there won't be that same cutoff there originally was. So if you summon with Rift Shards in the next coming days, you can register those heroes for the next couple days. I think the cutoff will be on the 10th. So you have a couple days to get into the season if you want to with your summoned heroes. Another big change this season was the skill rework. I know Kung Fu caught a couple smaller bugs, which I fixed and committed into production today. So those should be hitting. But overall, the skill rework, I feel like, has gone really well. I think JB was the one who decided what the balance should be. And then we got together and implemented those changes together. But overall, I'm pleased with the changes. I think the skills are more dynamic. I think a couple skills were just worthless last season. And we'll continue. Those will be an evolution. And then on top of that, I think some low-hanging fruit, which would be fun for the community, is simply to add a couple more skills and maybe make some skills universal, like not class-specific. So we can look into that. But overall, that's the skill update. New features for Season 3. So obviously the smelter is on my mind. We've had a lot of bugs we needed to address, which has taken away from our ability to focus on new features. But the smelter's on my mind. And one thing I've been working on in the background is I want to add multiple routes through the game. So if you think about right now, you progress through each zone in like you use the same progression. But what if you got to zone 2, for example, and when you were in zone 2, you discovered 2 paths forward, and each path has a kind of risk reward associated with it. That's kind of what my next big feature idea would be, is kind of creating multiple paths through the game. Now, keep in mind, we can keep retooling and adding really cool features to the game to make it more fun. But what the last 2 months have taught me is people think the game is fun, and now we need to bring new users in. And features like the one I just mentioned are super cool, but I'm not sure that's really a feature that brings people in. But of course, we still need to keep it fresh. And the skill rework is, I think, a really good example of keeping it fresh, but not doing something too crazy. So I do have features I want to figure out. I have a planning meeting with Dee on Monday to go over a feature roadmap. But again, part of what the focus has to be is if the change is only going to enrich the current player experience, that's cool. But what's better is bringing new players in. So we have to balance that. So we'll see. Still making some decisions there. Okay. Outside of that, that was pretty much all I had. So let's go to the town hall Q&A. I'm just going to open up the Discord and look at the Q&A or the town hall questions. Town hall. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Town hall. Where is that dumb channel? Town hall questions. Here we go. Okay. I don't know why there's music playing in the background, but that's cool. Oh, wait, I do know now. That's the Discord. Okay, just kidding. Music's gone. Okay, so town hall questions. Are there plans to make leaderboards of different stats such as death, XP gained, level, and highest stat totals? Not, I mean, like it's something we will do, but that's probably not on the immediate roadmap. With the change of not starting a new season every 2 weeks, how does that affect the overall team? It doesn't really affect the overall team because heroes can only be in one season at a time. So the change was we just, we were trying to anticipate or predict what would happen. And I'm fine right now with the current model. We're fine. What we could get into is, let's say we brought on a bunch of new users, but they came in on like the 20th of the month. Well, what do? And so we might need multiple seasons at some point. But right now, the community's pretty united, right? Like when we bring in people, it's pretty onesie twosie. But if we had a big activation or we had some kind of real momentum shift, we might add another season to accommodate. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's necessary. With Meta's threads taking off recently, are you worried that Zuck will try to rip off Dragon's Crossing due to its success? The answer is yes, and we're taking a lot of precautions to prevent that. Thank you. When will you do the raffle for 1-to-1 heroes for boosted minters? The person, ironically, who asked that is refunding their hero. So we have to, you wouldn't be able to participate if you refunded your hero. But if you didn't refund your hero, and by the way, refunds have been very small. There have been a very small amount of refunds. The drawing can only take place once we are done minting. So I'll get with Brown Gent, but it'll be this upcoming week. It could be within the next, 3 to 5 days, because now that there's no more mints, we don't have to collect any more raffle tickets. So that will be very soon. And as a reminder, I believe what we're giving out for that are unique Genesis heroes, which have unique art in our legacy. And they're like one-of-a-kind heroes. So it's super cool. And that's all the town questions I have. So let me just look at the chat real quick. No, I'm not going to address the cage match. We're still trying to figure that out. That's all I've got. So I'm going to open it up. If anyone has any live questions. So my idea, since we're kind of a close-knit people here, this isn't for sure. But what I want to do is have the project, like do a big promotion where we're like, hey, if you're new to the community, we will cover the cost of a summoning shard. So in other words, if someone comes into the community, they're new, and they're like, I want to play the game, but it's kind of expensive. I have to buy a summoning shard and register for the season. And I'm like, hey, what if we had a thing where if you come in as a new member and you buy a summoning shard and register, the project will cover the cost of that summoning shard. So it's kind of an incentive to get people in. They still have to play the season, right? And it's all skill-based, right? We're not giving them any advantage, but we're kind of investing dollars into getting people onboarded. And that returns value directly to the existing community, and it returns value through indirect ways to the project. So I think that's my idea. So we'll figure out, but I like that idea. I think it works. They still need $20 to register, right? If you buy a summoning shard, you still have to get into the season. Every season has an entry fee, and the entry fee is what drives the prize pool. So yes, they still need $20 to register. RK3 said, what is the benefit to camp? Extra quests get added as points to leaderboard. I'm not sure what that question means. Let me just take it high level. Camping is the method for securing your NFTs. If you are out of quests and you camp, there's no downside. But if you are 4 quests left, but you don't want to die, you might consider camping to secure your skill books and or shards. The downside is you lose the quests, and that's not good either. So there's a choice to be made there. So hopefully RK3, that answers your question. Ellie, what about onboarding new people through raffles on Twitter? Again, I think we would promote that new idea I just had via Twitter, right? We could do raffles. Raffles to me are less about, like, a raffle is like a lottery, right? To me, that doesn't get someone in and enculturated into our system, our community. But if someone's like, okay, I will jump through these hoops. I'll buy a summoning shard. I'll register for the season. I'll start playing. And then we reimburse them. To me, it's a lot more. My guess is your conversion rate, or excuse me, not your conversion, your retention of those people will probably be pretty high if they're playing the game. Again, the overwhelming consensus is if I play the game, I like the game and I want to keep playing. And we see that not only from the anecdotal feedback we get in the Discord, but we also see that by the fact that most people playing have more than one hero, which they don't have to, but they do. We see that by the fact that the community is still relatively small, but we have a crap ton of entrants into season 2. So that tells me again, people who play like it. Our challenge is, can we get them to play? So that was kind of what my whole refund thing was initially. Is I believe if they play, they'll like it. That's a good idea. I'm trying to onboard some people in a similar way, lending them a Rift. They pay registration and keep whatever they get. That's awesome. We've talked about a rental program. Not something we're probably going to prioritize immediately, but definitely something that could help. Crypto Grady said, skill points needs lowered. I agree with Katrino. Yeah, well, JB owns that topic, so you can harass JB in general chat. But just because something is uncomfortable doesn't mean it's a bad mechanic, right? Like we could go the Oprah route and just say everyone gets 1 million skill points, but that would kind of remove the mechanic. So we have to be careful. And right now I think skill points are probably balanced, but we're going to make tweaks. If it feels like there's not enough skills being used in game, then maybe we'll lower them a little bit just to enable that. When JB AMA, great question, Katrina. We'll have him on when he wants to. I'm sure he'll a virtual crucifixion. Nah, I think people like JB. Okay, so I'm looking at chat. I don't see any more real questions. I think that's it. So again, if there's any other questions, I'll look at chat. I'm seeing we're on, I think this is through YouTube. Yes, it's through YouTube. So I'll give everyone a couple more seconds to ask any questions. The dog is not near me, or I would have. His name's Toby. Yes. So again, to Voidy's point, it has to be about new players, right? We don't want to incentivize existing players to double down. That's a good thing, but that's not the best thing. The best thing is new players. Gatrino's saying, hey, what about AMAs with other projects? My impression from doing a crap ton of AMAs as we led up to launch, I'm skeptical that it's really super valuable. I don't know. I just think it's kind of a time investment on our side. And then do we see people entering the community through there? Maybe if it's the right community. So I don't know. It's tough. What I was going to say is the project has resources. We're just trying to allocate them in the right way. So if anyone, I get scam marketing crypto messages like every day, which I don't respond to anymore. But if there was like a legitimate crypto marketing agency, or if there was a legitimate influencer who had a following who wanted to partner with us and increase our exposure, I'd love that. We'd love to use resources for that. But most marketing in crypto is pretty scammy, pretty shady, lots of bots, not a lot of real engagement. So, we're looking for real organic, well, not necessarily organic, but real partnerships and collaborations. We're happy to do them. We're happy to put resources, including money, towards them. It's just a matter of, can we find those, the right people? So one example is I'm talking to some paid ads specialists. So these are people who would help market the project through formal paid ads. So, like a banner on a Reddit channel, like, hey, check out this new Web3 RPG. It's super cool. So there's things like that. We're talking to some bigger partnerships that might take months to realize, but could bring thousands of people into the community. So like we have a long-term marketing strategy. We have some short-term stuff, but I'm still looking to do more. And I'm looking for a better ROI. Like me going on to an AMA for an hour and then getting 2 people into the community who may or may not stay seems like a bad investment of our time. But so we need slightly more scalable activities. Okay. Let's see. 1 of 3 addiction counselors now treat DCX withdrawal. Perfect. How is the fixing of skill errors? It's kind of like so let me put it this way. If you claimed a skill book and it's giving you problems, we've solved that. Like we can solve that through a ticket. If you have a skill book you just found and identified and it didn't show up, we can solve that through a ticket. There's some other really weird problems that are like super one-off, super fringe. We're still working through. But if you claimed a skill book, the key is if you've identified a skill book, but you're having issues using it in game, we can solve that. That's easy. Outside of that, it's a more of a one-off basis. Has Arbitrum provided anything for being on the chain? No, Arbitrum has done nothing, but that's kind of, par for the course. I don't know if we expected them to do anything. They did retweet one of our tweets back in the day, like at launch. Blockchains are kind of infamous for being really bad at doing this. We're not anywhere near DFK's size, but I always remember how much friction there was when DFK was this massive project and they had a bajillion volume and Harmony like wouldn't talk to them. And I'm not saying we're DFK, we're not their size, but like we haven't gotten a lot of engagement from them, and that doesn't surprise me. Would you consider tweaking the season rewards? Here's the problem. I know, Kung Fu. The problem is, and I want to be careful how I say this because I know you know Kung Fu and you could hurt me, but the problem with that idea is an idea that to me speaks to the 15 or 20 people who are really committed to the game and who are in Discord and they're like, well, I want more rewards. But it doesn't seem to be like that would be a change that could benefit new players. That said, we could do two things at once, right? We're not like, we could do both. We could adjust the rewards. I would push back and say if Gatrino does a poll, if someone has a better rewards, like in other words, there's a pool of rewards. How those are distributed is subjective. Like what's the right answer? I don't know. We have a proposal, which is the current reward system that I think is pretty good. And if you come in the top 40, you get at least break even, but maybe there's a better way. So if you think rewards could be distributed better, I'd love to see a spreadsheet where you think it could be distributed better. I'll take a look, especially for a guy like I know Kung Fu who's so active. Like I'll take 30 minutes. I'll read your spreadsheet. So, if someone has a better reward structure, I'd love to look at it, and I'll like if it's good, we'll change. So good question. Currently, it doesn't matter. No, that's not true. Currently, it does matter how many people register. So the top 3 people, their rewards scale with the amount of people who join. Top 3. So it's just the 1, 2, and 3. So if 10,000 people joined, 1, 2, and 3 would get really lucrative. Whereas everyone outside the top 3, they would just they would still get really good rewards, but it wouldn't change with the number of people joining. Does that make sense? So the top 3 do scale. Okay. So yeah, that's right. Top 3 inners should recruit more people. I love it. And by the way, I have to say, I feel like we have a great community. Like I see people posting on Twitter all the time. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing that. Check this out. And they might not have huge followings, but it's organic, right? It's cool. So I appreciate that. I think we have fantastic people. Doug's been fantastic. I know Grady's been super helpful. So we have good people who have, who are, preaching the gospel. And it's a process. We've only been launched 37 days. No, probably less. 37 days. So, I mean, we're new. We're a new project. We're trying to build. I think it's really impressive the amount of people paying to register based on how young our project is. But we're going to see. So yeah, that's where we're at. Any other questions? Questiones? Give us more to engage on. Yes, I can get with Brown Gent on getting more Twitter content out. We can come up with a plan. Okay, any other questions? If not, we can wrap up this town hall. As a reminder, the next town hall, we're going to have the people from Dragonswatch on. Dragonswatch is a third-party app. We are not associated with the app, but they've provided amazing content through that app, and we want to interview them, so we'll have them on next time. Voidy, I love it, So if you want to sync up, let's get a little DM going or something, we can swap ideas. It was supposed to be today, Katrina. Unfortunately, they had some conflicts, so we'll do it next town hall. Okay, I think that is good. Wait, let me just check the Discord, see if there's any other. Nope, no other questions there. Let me check Gen Chat. People want to mute Jackson. We'll look into that. Okay. Is the team working on a perpetual game mode? Like I said, well, let me put it this way. My immediate priority outside of like small features is I want to come up with a mode where you don't need an NFT to play and you don't get NFT rewards and you don't compete in the season. But if you were like, I wonder what that game is like, and I don't want to buy a summoning shard if I don't know what it's like yet. Okay, well, here's a way to just play the game like a single player almost, right? PvE. You're not competing in a season. And you can only play, let's say, the first 2 zones or something. And so you don't need an NFT to play. You can discover the game, get a feel for it. I think that could be helpful. The problem with that is some of the magic of our game is the fact that you're competing in a season. So I have to think about it, but that's kind of my first priority. Perpetual is problematic because it doesn't feel like fracturing the community into different product lines would be helpful given how small we are. And it also doesn't help that perpetual seems like it would be hard to monetize. So do we really want to invest in it and spend money on it when I can't figure out a way to make that profitable without bifurcating or fracturing the community right now, which isn't something I want to do. So I have to think about it. But again, I'm always down. Like you guys in Gen Chat, we have like 20 people who are super active. And if you guys want to have the conversation, let's chat in Gen Chat or let's chat in the Sentinels Outpost or wherever about, hey, how could this work? How could that? So I'm happy to hear the ideas. Has the team already minted 100 heroes? No, we have not minted the 100 heroes yet. One-time fee for every hero. Let me think about it. I don't know. The other problem is, what do you do when you beat, let's say you beat Abaddon in Perpetual? So we had a prestige system thought up where your character would get stronger, but you'd have to redo another run. But again, I just don't think our game mode lends itself to Perpetual. I think we could use the core of our game and come up with more of a daily run kind of game. Or maybe, I don't know, just a slightly different format where it's more of a roguelike in that you do a run, it takes you 30 minutes. Let's see how far you get. And that's more of it's not really Perpetual. But again, I just don't see our game lending itself because there's just not enough content to want to log in every single day unless there was something like our seasonal model incentivizing you to do it. And again, we reset. There's always new content being added. Perpetual seems like it would be hard to make that attractive. Is there anything planned for Genesis heroes to make them attractive than Rift heroes? Yes. One is we're going to move voting rights to Genesis heroes. And then my plan is we're never going to forget that it's the Genesis hero people who've really made the game possible. So when we have, let's just say I have some medium-term plans, like maybe the next 1 or 2 months, where you may see an additional NFT released. And there may be benefits for Genesis heroes that Rift heroes wouldn't have for those. But again, we've got I don't want to get ahead of ourselves that at the end of the day, we need more users. But I also there's some really cool things I have in my head from a feature perspective that would benefit Genesis heroes. I'm going to give you a tidbit idea. Here's my idea. We add pets, okay? Or we don't call them pets, whatever we add another gear slot. I'm going to call it a companion or something. And the companion slot gives you a very small benefit. Let's say one companion can give you plus 1% chance to hit. Another one gives you plus 2% crit. And it's an NFT. It stays with you kind of like a skill. And that item slot is occupied by a companion. And so it's a small benefit, but it is a benefit. So you want it. And then we put the means to produce companions, which are NFTs, in the hands of community members. So we might mint some, but we might airdrop some, and we could airdrop to, guess who? Genesis holders. So that was an idea I had where I really like the idea where it's the community that controls production. And Genesis Heroes are the first pass. And I think there are other things like, what if we added a tile that was like your workshop or your castle, and you could buy or you could obtain NFTs that make buildings, and these buildings produce stuff that you could potentially sell to the community or you could use yourself. So like, that's where my head's at. Again, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Companions is probably the next NFT play. And I think Genesis Heroes would be more benefited by that. Game is life. We've talked about a rental system. It's just one more feature. So we have to figure that out. I don't know. You also had a question about marketplace. Not right now. I just think the marketplace we have through OpenSea. Now, could we have an in-game marketplace for items? Maybe. To Jackson's point, absolutely. So skills to me are a pretty good implementation of something that really isn't, or it kind of like fringes on pay to win, but I don't think it is pay to win. And that is, you start out with skills, but you need other skills, and you don't have to buy skills. You can try and find skills. But if you really want a specific skill, you can pay for it, and then you'll have it forever. So to me, skills is a really good implementation of something where you can pay for a benefit, but you don't have to per se. And it seems like skill or good choice making is probably the best indicator of success, not you have to have that skill to win the game. So I agree. We have to be really careful that it's not pay to win. I detest pay to win. We're going to do everything against moving away from pay to win. And so we have to balance it. And again, I think skills are a good example of a balance. Okay, so I think that's all. You guys have thrown out some good ideas. I've just read through the chat. Looks good. So with that said, I think we will wrap this town hall. We'll probably have another town hall in 2 weeks on Friday. I'll get with Brown Jet. We'll coordinate it. We will again launch the burn and summoning tonight. Okay. So stay tuned. We got a lot of work ahead, but I think we've made some awesome progress. So thanks everyone for tuning in.